What's going on, everyone? Today is May 15th. It is your Wednesday midweek review. Today we had CPI. A couple things to note as you're going into Thursday and Friday of this week. Tomorrow we have unemployment claims releasing at 8:30 on top of building permits as well as a manufacturing index. And then you also have some lighter news at 9:15 being the production month on month, which is in the industrial industry. And then on Friday there is no red folder news, but you do have an FOMC member speaking at 10:15. So one more red folder news, which would be the unemployment claims tomorrow at 8:30, and then it gets a lot lighter for the rest of the week. We obviously had PPI on Tuesday. We had CPI today, so we'll go over that. Anything else with regards to news on your end, Henry?
That's it.
Okay, all right, well, let's jump into dollar. Tell me when you got me.
You are all set. Good.
Okay, so dollar. Obviously, I was bullish for the past couple weeks. Obviously, we were bullish throughout this whole run higher, following the order flow until we decided not to, which today kind of gave us the full gist of switching it. Right, we were looking for these highs in here and then potentially these highs, but we wanted to see how we respected in here, and we knew that off of these off of these weeks in here, right, didn't give us the best candle closure with regards to the consequent encroachment. And we noted how last week, if we did not close back above the consequent encroachment, there was the chance that we could potentially reverse and go lower, right? And so you can see that today really showed that hand on the weekly. So on a weekly perspective, my draw is obviously this low in here, right? So 103.880 is my draw, targeting this low to potentially be purged, if not by the end of this week, early next week. And really, aside from the sell side, I'm also looking for a full fill on this BISI, right? Notice how there's an open end to this BISI in here. So if I come in here, really that's the BISI that is left over. So I'm looking to see that get filled. And then also if I look at this low all the way to this high, and I look at equilibrium, right? That's almost a full fill of that too. So I'm treating this whole area right now as my draw, right? Not only is the sell side a draw, but I'm also wanting it to draw to the fill of this and then trading into a deeper discount of a larger range, right? And when you can go on a daily, you can start to see how you're looking at this BISI in here. You can see how there was no really, even though there was displacement from here, right? So we did have a BISI created in here with a volume imbalance, but notice how we traded back into it, right? Notice this aggressive trading back into it, right? Kind of hard to tell which way it's going to go in here, right? And that's why we were going to be patient and kind of wait for today to play out. And you can see that today kind of gives us that signal, obviously, that we're potentially going to target this sell side, right? If we were going to go higher, we would have liked to see it off of something like this with a reaction, and obviously the follow through with this order flow. Price wasn't having it. You can see that we go lower, right? Totally fine. That's why we knew that in indices, it was clear that we were going to go higher. It was whether or not we were going to get a mixed market or if there was something in dollar that we hadn't quite, anticipated. That's totally fine, right? So from there, what I would like to see tomorrow do, right, is potentially, as long as we don't trade all the way up to this candle's low, right, as long as we don't trade all the way back up into here, we will have then created a SIBI, right? So whatever SIBI is created in here, I will then continue to use that, right? I will continue to use that to then show or follow price lower into here, right? That's my gist. Right, waiting for price to create that SIBI and that displacement, and then follow that continuously down into the sell side and then down into that higher time frame BISI as well. So that's really where I'm looking at on dollar, right? We are still in this BISI, right? But the way we've closed, we still have 58 minutes left. But the way that this daily has closed really shows me that we are probably wanting to target the sell side. If we would have wanted to run these, right, we might at a later date in the year, who knows? But right now, you need to know that if we were going to get that run, we would have wanted to see it, right, happen late last week into early parts of this week. We would have needed to see something. Not seeing that right away, right, trading what you see and not what you think you see, it didn't necessarily follow through on the displacement, and that's why you're seeing this turnaround here as well, right? So that's really my take on dollar. Targeting sell side, right? Knowing when to switch, when to adapt, when to know when to let go of your bias and potentially change your bias. This is a great example of how you don't have to marry a bias. You have to be fluent with regards to what is changing in the markets, with regards to what you're seeing with regards to closure. So lower, I think. Other than that, that's it for me.
Okay. And with the lower dollar, the likelihood is that we can expect higher prices in the indices. Starting with the ES here, you can see just starting on a monthly chart, we have gone and purged the April high like we've been talking about. Just about 3 or 4 handles running above it today. You can see we traded down into the monthly BISI here, fully redelivering the sell side. So this is a buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Redelivered the sell side there, and then right back up to the buy side, the high that was created before this retracement. On the weekly, really nice expansive run here, leaving this BISI here as a breakaway gap, which we noted at the beginning of this week here. We were unlikely to reach back down into there as it was a balanced price range because you had an overlapping SIBI with this BISI right here. So that's a balanced price range. We traded away from it and continued to expand higher. There's really no imbalance within this range. You can see we traded down, up, down, up, down. So this has already been efficiently delivered on the way down, which makes for a really easy price run up toward the buy side here. So you can see that low resistance run, really nicely expanding up toward the buy side. And we've now reached our higher time frame objective being the buy side here. So as we've reached this objective and we're now trading back at all-time highs, we have to switch to a bullish yet neutral perspective. While still bullish, we have to allow ourselves to gather some more information now that we've traded at all-time highs, and we need to see what kind of response is occurring up here. Is there a continued effort to expand higher, which I do think we will likely see just looking at the monthly chart. The likelihood is we'll continue gravitating up into higher prices, but you do want to see on the daily, is there a continued effort to expand through these highs and then use discount rates to continue working higher. And I would now, in terms of if we were to see lower prices, I really wouldn't be looking for anything significant lower until you see some form of displacement back through a swing low, like right here. Okay. On NASDAQ, same idea really. We fell just shy of the all-time highs today, just about 707. So we fell just 2 handles shy, and we may see it purged in the after hours or in the Asian or London session this evening. We did run up above April's high, and you can see ES had made a higher high in April than in March, while NASDAQ made a lower high there. So it's the March high that we're reaching for in NASDAQ. 2 handles shy of it, so still expecting NASDAQ to gravitate higher up into that high. And then on a weekly basis, same idea here. We traded it and created a BISI over the SIBI, so treating that as a balanced price range here and a breakaway gap, so no need to return back to it as this week just continues to expand higher up into the buy side. There's no premium arrays left before that buy side, so I am expecting that we will trade to and through this high. And then on the daily, same idea. We're still bullish as we trade into higher prices and expect lower prices on the dollar, but you have to allow some more information to develop. So when we trade at all-time highs, you want to continue focusing on trading to the long side, not looking to go short against it, because if you go short, you can get caught in opportunities where price will continue to spool against you. You want to be working with the higher time frame order flow and not against it. But you do want to focus your attention on playing with the session liquidity to identify your trading setups. Now that since we're trading up at all-time highs, there's really no PD arrays above to target or to utilize for developing a trade framework. So you're just using the discount arrays that exist below and using session liquidity as it develops intraday to frame those opportunities to look for higher prices. That is it for me. Carson, any last thoughts?
No, the only other thing I'd say is something that as you get into all-time highs, you know, when you're looking to see where price could really go, remember to use those deviations, right? Those swing point deviations are probably going to be your best friends going into it, because there's no more price action. So, right, you got to figure out certain swings to deviate that from and see how far price can go. But yeah, all-time highs, we're back at it. So
Back at it.
there we go. I would also say, going into even tomorrow and Friday, when you get big expansion days, expect smaller inside range days, a day or two following that. So don't expect, it could, but don't expect the same price action that we had today. Tomorrow, price is very likely to go into some form of intermediate consolidation. So just be aware of that. Other than that, that's really it.
Cool. Good for me. Then thanks for watching. Stay safe, be responsible, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for morning charge at 8:45. Take care, y'all.